What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're back with something juicy, and it's another incandescent focused weapon video today. This time we are using Zali's Bane from the Kingsfall raid, but we're going to touch on a couple of weapons here because there's an interesting perk interaction to be had when you throw Gutshot Straight together with Incandescent. So we'll talk about it a bit in the video, and as always, feel free to give us your thoughts. But as Zali's Bane right here has enhanced Gutshot Straight, where aiming down sights increases body shot damage, but decreases target acquisition slightly. And the enhanced version of the perk loses less target acquisition than the normal one. But it's safe to say overall, this isn't a super popular perk because generally it isn't a great idea to rely on body shot damage, and in PvE especially, it has limited real-term benefit in a lot of situations. But if combined with Incandescent, something interesting happens, and the scorch we apply to targets gets a damage boost. And this is presumably because scorch damage is non-precision damage, and so, with scorch technically classing as weapon damage, when we're aiming down sights, it's getting the benefit of Gutshot Straight. And the scorch damage is seeing an increase of 20%, which was found by my friend Duddits here, so big shout out to him. You can see in some of the gameplay here the damage actually decreasing when we aim out. And as you can see in the gameplay, we're getting some really big groups of kills on enemies. And as well, you'll see that some of the tankier targets in the mix are occasionally just exploding, suddenly receiving a bunch of damage. And Gutshot Straight is contributing to that effect. I'd say in some situations it's proven to be pretty good. The main requirement, as with Incandescent in general, is that you need larger groups of mobs together for it to really make sense. But this is an ad control type of perk combo, so it has a specific role. And of course the main downsides to using Gutshot Straight are that to get the benefit, we need to be aiming down sights. And that includes during the time that Scorch is doing damage if we want to get that 20% increase. And there is that element of losing target acquisition, which takes a little bit of getting used to. Either way, whether you take Gutshot or something else, Zali's Bane is definitely an immediate legendary replacement to Sunshot. A lot of folks are also running explosive payload in the first trait slot, along with Incandescent, and that's a lot of fun in PvE as well. And much in the same way as when we covered Retraced Path with Subsistence and Incandescent, which becomes a better Prometheus lens. Some of these legendaries are pretty much owning the most similar exotics at the moment. As always though, there's more to build into with these incandescent weapons in all varieties. And so with this particular build, we're using Phoenix Cradle that allows Sol Invictus on the Titan to last twice as long. And allies who pass through the sunspots are granted Sol Invictus and Restoration. Of course, this allows us to create sunspots on defeating scorched targets. So as we get kills on targets who are burning with the weapon, sunspots are actually dropping there as well, which are further scorching and damaging targets in the AoE. On top of that, with the boots equipped, Sol Invictus is up for longer, and so we're getting more sunspots, and ultimately more ad control potential, as these burn through enemies extremely effectively. So it's pretty good with Incandescent, but again, solar fragments are pretty huge when using this perk. And so we have Ember of Char, where solar ignitions spread scorch to nearby targets. Of course, this can apply with other incandescent weapons. Plus, we have Ember of Eruption, where solar ignitions have increased area of effect. And then very importantly, Ember of Ashes, which lets us apply more scorch stacks to targets. Then finally, there is Ember of Solace, where radiant and restoration effects applied have increased duration. So for any incandescent weapon, you'll be dropping sunspots all over the place, while applying literally the maximum amount of scorch stacks with the maximum damage possible for a weapon. And so it's a bunch of fun, and while Gutshot Straight may not be everyone's key choice, I thought it was cool to highlight what it actually does and how that interacts with Incandescent. Of course, the question is, do you guys think it's worth it? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. I think for some builds and situations it can definitely be utilized, but I get that explosive payload or subsistence on the traces and autos is highly appealing, so it depends how easily you can craft the weapons and potentially multiple versions for different things, as well as how much you want to adjust your playstyle. Honestly though, it's refreshing at the moment to have so many options for weapons, and like with Volt Shot, they're all synergizing or even making builds work entirely, which is awesome. So again, feel free to give us your thoughts down below. For today though guys, that is everything that we have to round up in the video, so I hope you've enjoyed this one and found it useful. If you have, a rating below really does help us out. Plus, if you want to see more Destiny content, definitely get subscribed and hit the bell icon below to get notifications. Otherwise though, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.